Evil West follows Jesse Rentier, or Rentier. It's hard to say. The name was pronounced both ways by various characters throughout the game.
Agent Rentier. You're a Rentier!
A vampire hunter for the Rentier Institute, the country's first defense against creatures of the night. Mostly vampires and vampire-related things. The fight has been going on for a while, and it's about at this time that a rogue vampire decides that they need to turn the tides before humans get too dangerous to fight. He's figured out a way to evolve more monsters faster, creating an army. It's up to Jesse and friends to band together in order to take out this new menace before it gets out of hand. Evil West is one of the more gory games I've played in a while. Enemies exploding into a blood puddle with a single punch creates quite the show. And the language is pretty mature as well. They pull no punches when it comes to cursing. There's plenty of F-bombs and vulgar speed throughout the entire game, so as far as the kids are concerned, I'd say it's a no-go for them.
Now the entire country is left unprotected, while I stand here with my dick in my hand like an idiot! So again, could someone please tell me how the fuck did this happen?
In order to combat the plethora of monsters, Jesse will get various weapons throughout the game. A rifle for those fine-tuned range shots, doing extra damage if shot at the right time. Flamethrower for huge groups coming at him at the same time. And plenty of other weapons and tools. One thing I really liked about this game was the fact that all of Jesse's equipment needed to be used periodically. There would be fights I would try to get through that just really kicked my butt, until I remembered I could use a grenade at this crucial moment, and I would kill the monster that much faster. Most games I play that give me a lot of equipment can be easily beaten with a few essential weapons. But not here. When everything is used often and properly, it's a much more enjoyable game. When I could use that crucial weapon at just the right time, oh, so satisfying. One thing about it though, the game ended up being a lot more melee intensive than I thought it would be. I had imagined a lot more gunplay, seeing as how I'm playing an old cowboy from the West. Jesse's guns do have their uses, but the majority of damage done will be through punching and kicking. Some of the guns or tools would do a lot of damage, but they come with a cooldown, so they can only be used so many times in a single fight. There are a lot of different enemies in Evil West. I liked how at the end of a level there would be a kind of boss fight against a unique enemy, but more often than not, that enemy would show up in a later fight. Sometimes multiples. These bosses were more like elites after Jesse killed them once. So I had to remember their fighting mechanics before they would inevitably show up in a fight later. Some of the fights would get insane with the number of elites surrounded by cannon fodder all trying to eat me at the same time. Evil West would really keep me on my toes. At the start, Jesse doesn't have many skills at his disposal. Besides the occasional gun handed to him in the story, levels could be gained through fighting. Every level offers one perk point that could be used in one of two skill trees, increasing things like attack power of punches or adding new moves to his combos. And all of his equipment can be upgraded as well. Money found will be used to buy upgrades for the tools at Jesse's disposal. Most upgrades will be locked behind a level or a special blueprint. Thankfully, there is an option in the game to reset all perks and upgrades, free of charge at special stations. So builds can be drastically changed to better suit a specific playstyle. For the most part, the game played pretty good, but I did experience a few very annoying bugs. One, at the very start, before I even had a gun, I had knocked an enemy up onto a ledge where I couldn't hit them anymore, and they didn't want to come down to me. I ended up having to restart to fix that. The next one would trap me in the floor in the middle of a boss fight. That one actually happened a few times. I would just have to let myself die and try again. But the worst bug, that didn't even break the game at all, was so annoying that I still had to restart if it happened. There was one specific elite enemy that, at time of death, would leave this annoying washy sound in my ears. This sound would persist through everything. The only way to get rid of it was to restart the game or finish the level. Yeah, pretty bad, isn't it? I like to think that these bugs would be patched out pretty soon, considering how common they were in my playthrough, but we'll see. The story was a little generic, but enjoyable nonetheless. My biggest problem was the very static characters. There are stories out there that can pull off a badass character that doesn't change much, but this game didn't quite pull that off. Sometimes the cutscenes would move too fast and characters would be arguing because that's just who they are, no actual reason. I don't really like characters doing something because that's their character rather than a cause and effect, if that makes any sense. It was a very linear game with some minor deviations in a level usually leading to a small amount of gold or a special chest with a perk in it or a skin for your clothing. No side quests or going back to an area to recheck it. I beat the game in about 10 hours and had basically all of the perks and upgrades that I like to use the most. I'm not sure if it's possible to get everything in a single playthrough, given the set amount of enemies in a level. There was not really a grinding spot that I could find. There is, however, a New Game Plus option, setting the game into a harder difficulty, but keeping all the gains from the previous playthrough. So it is eventually possible to have a badass Jesse with everything at his disposal. Now, before I place this on a shelf, I wanted to let you know I appreciate it that you've made it this far. If you like what you've seen so far, hit that like and subscribe to see more. And now, without further ado, drumroll please. After beating the game, contemplating the story, the mechanics, and the various bugs I found, I'm gonna have to throw this on my mid-shelf. Woo! It certainly has room for improvement, and who knows, I may revisit in the future if there's any DLCs or I get bored. Alright, now that we're done with that, time to move on to the next one. I will see you there. Bye!